Hey, how you doing? Haven't been with you for a while. This what I'm doing tonight. I wanted to get some pictures in there, but I haven't got my skills up good enough to transfer pictures to the place. So let's get right into it. Can you imagine a fight with about 28 men, one woman, for 3 or 4 days, up against over 1,000 Comanches, and led by a very famous Native American, Quanah Parker, who rode in Teddy Roosevelt's inauguration. Skilled fighter, meant to kill him. They're out of water. The men were sharpshooters. Let's see. Sorry, light went off. The men were sharpshooters, uh, 50 caliber rifles. But one man wanted to take one shot at one Indian. The Indians had retreated, and they were very far away, 1,500 yards to be exact. And with a sharp rifle, he took the shot and knocked the Indian out of the saddle. And the Indians decided they'd had enough of fighting. Now, this man was Billy Dixon, and this is where I get my information from. I read the book. Plus, I go on YouTube quite a bit and Wikipedia, because it's amazing how other researchers will find things with a different slant or different tone. Um, I think more often than not, when you have Western characters in major battles like the Alamo, San Simeon, Battle of New Orleans, um, that that one battle captures too much of their life, and we forget what made them. So I want to go into that just a little bit. Great reading book. Made some notes here. The man I'm talking about is William Dixon, born September 25th, 1850. He died March 9th, 1913. And for a man to be in so many battles, it's amazing he would die so young. He was born in Ohio County, West by God, Virginia. He was an orphan at the age of 14. He did work around the farm, any places he could find, but he eventually set out to make his own mark. He headed west. Oh, and he worked as a woodcutter. He worked along the Missouri River. Incidentally, the Missouri River is the longest river in America. Most people think it's the Mississippi, but that's not true. Missouri, a lot of winding. He worked as a teamster. Uh, as a small boy, he had a hard time yoking and the oxen. Now, the teamsters had a 16-foot whip, uh, cracking wherever they cracked it whenever they went into town. A wagon could carry 8 tons, 16,000 pounds, and go about 9 miles a day. Those animals have to be fed. When it comes to whipping a 16-foot whip, I have 2 6-foot whips that I use in shows, and it's all I can do to crack them without beating the devil out of myself. I worked along the railroad. That battle I was talking about was Adobe Walls. That was the second battle built in 1843. The first battle, Kit Carson was in that one. Second one, Bat Masterson was in it. Now, on that battle, what really saved them, the Native Americans were sneaking up on them, and the men were sound asleep. But one of the main timbers in the roof broke and cracked, and I woke them up, and they gave them enough of time to defend themselves. Now, Bill Dixon didn't particularly like Native Americans, but he told it like it was. He told, found white men, a nailed, naked, spread eagle, and with spikes put into them, dying a horrible death. But at the same time, he told what the white men did to the Native Americans, the Sand Creek Massacre. I think that was when the chief Kettle was into it, Black Kettle, where he wore the American flag, and he was killed along with so many of his followers, women, and children. Um, on one of his trips, younger Bat Masterson, there was a Mr. Farewell, and he was just so interested in being a Westerner and fight Indians. But they thought he read too many Dom Store novels. But Bat Masterson and the other guys faked a fake Indian attack on him, scared him almost to death, and he never wanted to fight Indians again. At one of his battles at the Buffalo Wall fight, Congress gave him a Medal of Honor. Now, that fight was much more dangerous than the one at Adobe Walls. Adobe Walls is pretty close to Amarillo, Texas, the Panhandle. Because they had no cover at Adobe Walls, they had the walls to hide behind. And they found a buffalo wall. That's the place where buffalo, I guess, rolled in the dirt. And they used the knives to kind of put a little bit of shelter up for deflect the bullets. And a couple of men were killed, and many of the Native Americans killed. Now, he never told his story, but a few months before his death, he married a school teacher, and Oliver Dixon insisted that the story was but told a story but had some salty language, had to be doctored. Many other encounters with death, had to fight it out. Buffalo, I told you about that. Use knife to do dirt. Now, the shot that he knocked the Indian out of the saddle was 1,500 yards. Maybe it was a lucky shot, but it was the shot that saved her life. In 1883, Dixon returned to civilian life, built a home near Adobe Walls. He was a postmaster there for 20 years, also the first sheriff of that newly formed county. Great story. It's amazing he would die so young. 63 is just not that young. I did like the book. I want to show it to you again. I picked it up used at the one of the libraries here in Arizona. And it was written by his wife, Oliver K. Dixon. And I'm sure you go on Amazon, you can find some used books. It's good reading. I only covered just a very little bit of it, the hardships going west. But it was a lot of fun reading it. And it was even more fun sharing it with you. And so until next time, this is Cowboy Ron saying so long, happy trails, good hunting.